All right, so I just got back from watching They Will Kill You, the latest horror action. This is very similar to Ready or Not in a lot of ways, but one of them is that it will be classified as horror, but it's more action than it is, horror. It's got horror elements in it, but it's definitely the focus of this movie is the action. And the premise of this movie is a lady comes to work at this rich establishment hotel as a maid, but she discovers that this hotel is really a temple to Satan, and she is the latest human sacrifice that this satanic cult has to make in order to keep their good standing with the devil. But little do they know that she knows how to fight, and so she's gonna fight to defend herself and figure out what's going on here. And I do think it is very ironic that this movie came out a week after Ready or Not 2, because this movie is you'd think it copied Ready or Not's homework. There are so many similarities with this and the Ready or Not franchise, with the rich people, the rich and powerful secretly being indebted to the devil, a normal kind of working class girl going up against them. There's the sister element from Ready or Not 2 that this movie has as well. It's kind of horror, but it's more action oriented, with a lot of comedic elements as well. There's, I mean, and of course, the whole just genre is very, very similar. Um, so I do think it's kind of odd that these movies are coming out so close to each other. Like, if I were the producers of this movie, I would have tried to push it back a couple months, because this comparison is just uncanny. I will say this movie is unique a little bit in its editing and its directing style. There is a lot of stuff that reminded me of Tarantino movies with, quick zooms and, that sort of editing. So Ready or Not didn't really have any of that going on. But this movie, I feel, is just a little too generic to stand out. I think it starts very strong. It just jumps right into it. It doesn't have too much build up or anything like that. It just jumps you right into the plot, and you kind of figure things out as you go, which I enjoyed. It kind of cuts to the chase. The movie also doesn't take itself very seriously, which I enjoyed as well. But besides the editing and the music, I guess the action is a bit more stylized. Like in Ready or Not, no one is really an action hero, so everyone's kind of scrapping around. It's more like watching regular people fight. No one's really an action star. In this movie, the main character, who's played by Zazie Beetz, I believe that's how you say her name. She's definitely an action hero. She knows how to fight. She's got a whole arsenal of weaponry and stuff like that. So this movie kind of leans more into the action side of things, where I think Ready or Not was more comedic. I definitely remember laughing more for Ready or Not and Ready or Not 2 than I did this movie. This movie does have some funny moments, but not as much as Ready or Not. So does this movie stand on its own? Kinda. I'm glad I watched it. It was entertaining enough. It's not super long, which helps. But again, besides the, action and the, clever directing and editing, clever, it's Tarantino style, but, more interesting than not. It's kind of generic. The story is pretty basic. The character development is pretty basic. There's no real big twists and turns here. If you've seen one of these types of movies, you've seen this movie, really. So I'm glad I saw it, but I don't have any desire to really watch it again. Again, it starts off really strong, but it kind of flows into, more cliche, generic stuff as time goes on. Yeah, so I think if you are a fan of this style of action, comedy, horror blend, it's worth checking out just to see how it does how it handles basically the same premise a little differently, but I don't think it's gonna stand out amongst the crowd very much. I do think this movie will be lost to time a little bit and be remembered fondly for a couple scenes here and there that really are really goofy. This movie does get very goofy a couple times, but beyond those moments, I don't think this movie is going to be remembered very much. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on They Will Kill You.